Oh boy. Alright then. God, I've been waiting so long for this moment. I've always wanted to record an Ace Attorney game. And the Great Ace Attorney has finally been localized. Whoa. Oh yes, I am. So yeah, as you guys can see in the stream, no spoilers in chat, no spoilers in comments. We do have the option to play with English and Japanese voices. When we're in Japan, we're gonna have Japanese voices, but when we're in Britain, we're gonna be using English voices. So there's that. Alright, who's ready for some Ace Attorney awesomeness? Episode 1, The Adventure of the Great Departure. Yes, that is completely understandable. That is 100% understandable. I'm gonna get this out of the way now. I encourage you guys to please get this game. Show your love for Ace Attorney. Please get this game. If you do not want to be spoiled, then I strongly advise that you do not watch this stream. But for those of you who may not have a Switch or a PS4 or a computer to play this, and you still want to see how things go, think of it as like a movie, because I know that's pretty much how Ace Attorney is viewed as. So, just saying this, I'm not doing this with any malicious intent. I have always wanted to do this. This was my plan right out from the get-go. So I'm not doing this with malicious intent. I love Ace Attorney. And of course, spoiling an Ace Attorney is a complete no-go. That's a no-go. Nobody should do that. Even though I know that may be what I'm doing now, but I just implore you guys to please play this game in your own time. If you're at any point planning to play the Great Ace Attorney, then I strongly advise that you do not watch this. Or listen to it for rather. But anywho, let's get back to where we were. Alright. November 22nd, 8:43 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, Defendants Antechamber 5. I still can't believe it. I still can't believe this is happening. How can it be that just beyond the door to this quiet little chamber is the highest court in Japan, waiting to decide my fate? What? Oh, no, nothing. Save your glares, murderer. Sorry. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a second-year student at the Imperial Yume University. Well, I'm only saying that because just, like, I don't want to, like... Of course, I'm not gonna complete all 10 cases in one day. That's not gonna happen. If anything, I'll probably do just like a case a day. At least. Which I know people will definitely play through the whole game way faster than that. But I don't know. I'm just trying to say this to, I don't know. I mean, like, I shouldn't be streaming this, like, on the day it's available, but I want to. Okay. Also, I think I shouldn't have left my AC on when I went to bed. Throat feels kind of a little stuffy. Alright. 3 days ago, I somehow found myself in the middle of a horrifying incident. And now, here I am, awaiting my trial. That's enough. He's not obliged to listen to such abuse, officer. But who are you? I'm this man's lawyer. I'll be defending him today. Lawyer? Yes, and until the judge has given his verdict on the case, no one has the right to treat him as a criminal. So you will hold your tongue. Technicalities. Look at you, you haven't even graduated yet. And yet, I still seem to know better than you how a court officer should behave. Right, Ryunosuke? Oh, yes, of course. Sorry. What are you apologizing to me for? Oh, No, I suppose that wasn't my fault. But really, Kazuma, I never meant to drag you into this. I'm sorry. There you go again, apologizing. Just like always. Though I must say, you've been all over the newspapers these past few days. Yume University professor murdered in cold blood by student. But obviously, you didn't actually do it, did you? Of course not! You have to believe me. I didn't do it. I could never murder someone. Then there's nothing to worry about. Straighten yourself up. Hold your head high. You mean... I believe you. I know you're innocent, Ryunosuke. Kazuma Asogi, my best friend, also in his second year at Yume University. But he's far more clever than I. A star student, in fact. He's even a qualified lawyer. Impressive, considering he's still... I'm not that impressive. The very concept of lawyers is only a few years old. Here in Japan, anyway. My qualifications don't mean much, yet. You said exactly the same thing 3 days ago. But I'm proud I have a friend like you, Kazuma, truly. 3 days ago? Yes, that's when all this started. Congratulations, Kazuma. It looks like you're going to get to study abroad at last. I know. I've been forever dreaming of this day. Finally, those government elites have acknowledged my academic achievements and successes in court. So you'll be representing Japan as you immerse yourself in the most sophisticated legal system in the world. I'm really happy for you, and proud as your friend. There's not a soul in the university who doesn't know Kazuma's name. He's a living legend. It's like there's some mysterious aura billowing around his temple. I want to bring about change to our own legal system. That's why I have to cross the ocean and see the real thing with my own eyes. The heart of the British Empire. I wish I could see it too. Then come with me. We'd have a wild time tearing up the streets of Her Majesty's City of London together. If only it were that simple. Oh dear, look at the time. I'd better be going. Alright, I'll see you later. I think I'll stay and enjoy this place a while longer. Good idea. After all, it's not every day you get to visit a high-class Western restaurant like this. I'll see you in English class tomorrow then, partner. It was straight after that. That's when it happened. Asogi, may I have a word? Professor, I didn't know you were coming. Well, this case has personal significance to me. But never mind that for now, Asogi. You should go immediately to the judge's chambers. To His Excellency's chambers? Why? He was looking for you before. You advocating for a defense in this trial was a sudden decision. It seems there may be some confusion about procedures today as a result. Who is this man? I feel as though I've seen him at university before. I see. I'll go at once then. I shall accompany you. Alright then, Ryunosuke, I'll see you in the courtroom. Yes, thanks, Kazuma. This is awkward. If I may. Yes, sorry. You must be the defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, I believe. Yes, that's right. My name is Yujin Mikotoba. I'm a professor of forensic medicine at Yume University. Ah, Professor Mikotoba. I've heard that name from Kazuma before. As I recall, he's been pushing to get the government to agree to Kazuma studying abroad. Asogi has told me about you. You and he are best friends, I understand. As such, I feel you should know. Know what? Well, as you've no doubt heard, Asogi has been granted permission to go and study in Great Britain. However, if he should fail to defend you in today's trial, I'm afraid that permission would be revoked. Never granted again. What? As I suspected, you were unaware of this. I had a feeling Asogi may have chosen not to tell you. He agreed to defend me, knowing that if he fails, his dreams will be shattered? But I don't understand. Why would the government do such a thing? The administration has to choose from a large number of applicants for overseas study. It's very difficult to persuade them to grant permission, even in the most favorable of circumstances. I don't believe it. But I didn't do it, I swear it. I'm not a murderer. I'm sure that's true, nevertheless. I can assure you that proving your innocence will be no easy task. You see, there's a certain peculiarities about today's trial. Sorry? What do you mean? You'll soon understand, once proceedings get underway. But then what should I do? Well, naturally, I'm not going to suggest you do anything that could lead to a conviction. Right, so as soon as the trial starts, the judge will pose a certain question to the defense. When that happens, you must answer before anyone else. You must say, I do. I do? But what will the question be? Surely not, do you accept the accusation brought before you? Of course not. Defendant. Court is about to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once. It would seem our surreptitious discussions are about to be cut short. So allow me to summarize. Kazuma Asogi must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. Of course, as the defendant, the final decision is yours. What are you waiting for? Do you want to found guilty for failing to appear? Get moving. There's no point for anyone advocating for the likes of you anyway. This is it. If this trial goes badly, Kazuma's dreams of studying abroad are over. And what's more, I'll be found guilty of murder. And so, with absolutely no idea of what lie ahead, I embarked on that unforgettable trial. My one and only chance of proving my innocence. The trial would decide my destiny. Just gonna up the in-game audio a bit. November 22nd, 9 a.m., Supreme Court Adjudicator, Courtroom 2. So this is a courtroom. The Supreme Court Adjudicator. No court in the land has more power. I don't much like the look of those people sitting in the public gallery. Lots of military and other uniforms in there. The powers that have been demanded that this be a secret trial. A secret trial? A trial that's closed to ordinary members of the public. Only military and government officials may attend. What? But why? It'll become clear in time, but for now, you need to concentrate, Ryunosuke. It's about to begin. The court will now hear the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. The prosecution is ready, Your Excellency. As is the defense. Before we begin, there is one point of order I would like to confirm. Yesterday evening, the defense made a last-minute request for a change of advocate. That's correct, Your Excellency. I made the request myself. Normal procedures for the defendant's advocacy to be decided 2 days prior to trial. As this is an unusual circumstance, I'm obliged to ask the final confirmation now. Who advocates for the defendant in this trial? This is it. This must be the question. Who's going to defend me? That's the question the professor meant. But then, if I say I do, I need to answer quickly. What should I do? Your Excellency, no confirmation is needed. I am standing here beside the defendant. I hope it's clear that he will add... What is the meaning of this unruly outburst? I would like to inform the court that I, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, will be defending myself. You'll be... What? What are you playing at, Ryunosuke? Professor Mikitoma told me everything. Just now, before the trial. He did what? He said that your dreams of studying abroad will be dashed if you were to lose. How sad. It means you don't have faith in me. You think I won't be able to get you off? No, it's not that, really. It's just that, well, on the off chance that things don't go well for me, I couldn't bear to be the reason that you... Yes. I knew that's how you'd feel. Which is exactly why I decided not to tell you. Professor Mikitoma shouldn't have stuck his nose in. Very well. The court hereby recognizes the defense's desire to advocate for himself in today's trial. Well, well. Does the accused admit defeat already? Renouncing his own counsel? Really? Make no mistake, counsel. This merely shows that the defendant's innocence is so apparent he's confident he can speak for himself. Isn't that so, Naruhodo-san? Oh, yes, exactly. Exactly what I wasn't thinking. I'm not confident at all. In fact, my mind's a complete blank. I realize you're in charge now, but still, try not to look so bewildered. Well, for a mere university student to be brought before the Supreme Court, you must have perpetrated the most heinous crime indeed. As you are no doubt aware, this is the Supreme Court Adjudicator in Japan. Accordingly, the very highest standards are conducted and expected of all present. Do I make myself clear, Defendant Naruhodo? Yes, Your Excellency. It is therefore my duty to assess your competence for the task you have undertaken. My competence? What does that mean? He's questioning your ability to do the job. Well, he can't be questioning it more than I am. So let's start with the very simplest of questions. Yes. Kindly state before the court the name of the victim in this case. Oh, that's easy enough. I've heard this name more times than I'd care to remember. But, wait. I'm so nervous I can't even remember that. What was it again? Ryunosuke. Let me guess. Your mind's gone blank. You know me so well. All the relevant information for this case can be found in the court record. But I can't even find that. It's simple. You can access the court record with the press of R. If you ever find you've forgotten something, just consult that. It's all in there. I just have to press R for the court record. Alright, it's no time to lose. This is a list of evidence you've collected. Now try switching to people instead with R. You'll find the details about the victim in there. When you're done, just press B to go back. Okay. John H. Wilson, the victim of this case. He was visiting professor of medicine at Yume University from the British Empire. So remember, everything to do with the current case can be found in the court record. Now you better not keep His Excellency waiting any longer. Go on. Find the victim in the people section of the court record, then press X to present. Try it now. The victim's name was Dr. John H. Wilson. Well, at least you can remember the name of an esteemed member of your own university. Dr. Wilson was a visiting professor from England, invited to Yume University 3 years ago. Indeed. Which is the reason why this case has such profound implications. The British Empire is at present our country's most valuable foreign ally. And as most of you are aware, we have just signed a new treaty together after lengthy negotiations. There can't be anyone who hasn't heard of the Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation. And yet, despite these delicate circumstances, the blood of an Englishman has been spilt on our soil. You two are both undergraduates at the Imperial Yume University, are you not? Murdering a professor for the very institution that provides your education. Have you no honor? But I didn't do it. This case is coming under great scrutiny from our allies on the other side of the world. This court therefore wishes for a speedy resolution to this matter. In other words, our feeble government is scared of upsetting England's policymakers. And you're a convenient expendable scapegoat to blame for this crime. So that's why this trial has these unusual particularities, is it? Exactly. Our government needs to convict someone as quickly as possible. All because the victim was an Englishman. Yes, Dr. Wilson was an Englishman. But nationalities and treaties won't make any difference for me here. The fact is, I was there at the scene of the crime. Oh dear, look at the time. I better be going. Alright, I'll see you later. I think I'll stay and enjoy this place a little longer. Good idea. After all, it's not every day that you get to visit a high-class Western restaurant like this. See you in English class tomorrow then, partner. The British Empire? Wow, it's incredible to think. Wait. I've seen that man at university. I'm sure he's a visiting professor from Great Britain. I don't know his name, but still, I should go and say hello. So, I went over to the professor's table and introduced myself to Dr. Wilson. Now then, let me pose the next question to you, Defendant Naruhodo. Yes, Your Excellency. How did this professor of medicine, Dr. John H. Wilson, lose his life? State before the court the cause of death. The cause of death? Well, obviously that was, Ryunosuke. Remember that in court, every assertion must be backed up by evidence. By evidence? But how? Find the piece of evidence that shows the professor's cause of death and select present. Do it now. Post-mortem report. Death occurred a little after 2 p.m. and was caused by loss of blood from a gunshot to the chest. The bullet did not pass through the victim's body. Well, according to this document, the victim suffered a hemorrhagic death due to gunshot trauma. Learn to read, you imbecile. That's the post-mortem report, I take it. Sorry, yes, that's right. The, post-mortem report. In the West, the doctor dissects corpse to identify the cause of death in an autopsy. But here in Japan, a police officer merely inspects the body and draws conclusions that way. Oh, I see. As long as I'm not going to be tested for any of this later. This is the so-called photographic print of the scene of the crime. As you can clearly discern, scorch marks around the bullet hole produced by the powder explosion. In other words, we should assume that the victim was shot at close range. Thank you, counsel. The court will accept this modern scientific evidence into the record. A photographic print that shows the victim. He was shot from the front in the chest, subsequently died. So that's a photographic print. Well, that's something I've never seen before. It's clearly superior to a drawing. The detail is incredible. Hello, Cryptic. Very well, I am satisfied with your answers. Let us start the trial. Certainly, Your Excellency. So, without further ado, in order to better appraise the court with the facts of the case, the prosecution hereby calls its first witness, who was there at the scene of the crime when it happened. This is it then. I think I may have worked out what the professor had in mind. The professor? You mean Dr. Mikotoba? Yes, clearly you're the defense lawyer today, not me. But that doesn't mean... Well, I can still act as your assistant. Ah, of course. When he was speaking with me before, he simply said, Kazuma Osogi must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. He really has been sticking his oars in, hasn't he? Maybe, but... And any help you can give me would greatly be appreciated, Kazuma. Well, my first piece of advice is, rein in that crazy look of bewilderment and control the cold sweats. Only if you rein in that crazy headband and control the cold stares first. Witness, state your name and occupation for the court, please. Of course. My name is Satoru Hosonaga. I am the head waiter at the Western-style restaurant called La Carnival. Are you alright? You seem to be coughing up some, It's a regular occurrence. It really doesn't bother me. Well, it really should. As everyone knows, the capital's southeastern quarter was developed for foreign visitors some years ago. It's become a very fashionable district now, full of hotels to accommodate overseas guests. This grim crime occurred in one of those district's so-called restaurants, an Occidental eatery, 3 days ago. Understood. Hosonaga-san, you will kindly tell the court everything you can about the incident. At once, sir. And no petty interjections from the aspiring lawyer boy, please. Oh, perspiring maybe, but aspiring? It was just after 2 p.m. on the day in question. We had a few diners at the time of day. The lunchtime rush was over, and there were only 3 tables still occupied. That fits in with my memory of it, too. There's hardly anyone else in the place. It was when I was in the kitchen, putting away crockery and cutlery. A gunshot rang out, and I hurried out to the dining area to see what had happened. I found the victim, an English gentleman slumped in his chair, and standing immediately beside him, gun in hand, was the accused university student. Hold on, let me just clarify something. While I did pick up the gun that I found lying on the floor beside the professor, I didn't shoot him. I believe I asked you to refrain from petty interjections. The court wishes to listen to the witness's report of what he saw, you amateur. But the next time you interrupt at an appropriate time, you will be penalized, Defendant Naruhodo. Don't worry, Ryunosuke. You have your chance to fight back. For now, we must just quietly listen to the witness. If I may confirm one point, waiter. Standing beside the victim with a gun in his hand was the same man we see here in court today. Yes, without question. I see. And apart from the accused, was there anyone else standing beside the victim? No. There was no one else around at the table but the deceased Englishman and the university student. Huh? Wait, what did he just say? There was no one else around that table. What's the matter, Ryunosuke? That's just not right. When I went over to Dr. Wilson to say hello, there was a woman sitting opposite to him at his table. Really? And that's not something the waiter could have missed. I've been warned about interjecting, but still, what should I do? Wait and see. I desperately want to say something, but I was told not to interject. Ryunosuke, if your partner's telling you to study, you're the kind of man who would diligently get to work, aren't you? I suppose I am. I'd never have gotten into Yume University otherwise. But you can't always follow the rules in life, you know. If you don't say what you want to say right now, you'll seriously regret it when you're found guilty. Alright, you scared me. I won't forget that piece of advice in a hurry. And there is something I want to say. I'm just gonna shut my eyes and say it. Just a moment, please. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone that day. I'm sure of it. There was a lady sitting with him at the same table. Dear me, dear me. What are we going to do with you? With your blatant disregard for court proceedings, I'm beginning to wonder if you're not a fraud. Could it be that the accused, this mere student, is not a real lawyer after all? But I'm sure of what I saw. Hosonaga-san, is there any chance you're mistaken? Perhaps your memory of events is hazy. No. The deceased gentleman came to the dine alone. I don't believe it. I actually have a rough plan of the restaurant as it was that day. Please have a look if you'd like to. Let me see. Ah, a sketch of the establishment's layout drawn by yourself, I presume? That's right. I'm afraid I used the back of my business card. That was a turbulent situation. However, as you can see, the gentleman in question was seated alone. Well, you're clearly a very conscientious waiter. Thank you, sir. The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence. Oh, well, is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once. Of course. Here you are. What was that about? He's been completely calm and collected until now. Something certainly seems to have shaken him. Hello, Mega. So, the court has now heard a precis of the case. Precis, whatever. I'm actually going to go to the court record real quick. I mean, there's just nothing strange. Okay. Yes, at the moment the gunshot was heard in the restaurant, the only person in close proximity to the victim was the defendant on trial today. It would seem we are looking at a black and white case here. Defendant Naruhodo. Yes, Your Excellency. If you admit your guilt at this stage, the court is willing to look mercifully upon you. In other words, you may have some small reprieve in terms of your inevitable punishment. I called this waiter as an unsworn witness in order to explain the details of the case to the court. But I must warn the defense, if you're determined to pursue matters further in this trial, the prosecution has decisive evidence from sworn witnesses who were present at the scene of the crime. What do you think I should do, Kazuma? What do you mean? Well, I'm going to be found guilty one way or another, it seems. Wouldn't it be sensible to plead guilty at this stage and hope for a more lenient sentence? Everyone keeps telling me that this trial is unusual about these peculiarities. That's so weird to say. Peculiarities. Okay. You said it. Professor Mikotoba said it, and so has the judge and the prosecution. I'm scared of what lies ahead if I push. As I said from the outset, I believe you're innocent. I trust you. And yet, despite knowing that, you're willing now to throw that trust back into my face? Is that it? What? If the accused is in fact innocent, then a defense lawyer is duty-bound to prove that innocence by whatever means necessary. Are you just going to abandon that duty? Are you going to give up on yourself? The battle hasn't even begun yet. Ryunosuke. The defense pleads not guilty, Your Excellency. We invite the prosecution to stop making empty threats and bring out its witnesses. Then we'll see just how decisive this evidence really is. Indeed. Prosecutor Aochi, please continue with proceedings. Well, you were warned. The young can be so reckless. You know, many call me a saint, but I can be a devil when I want to be. Ugh. In a few short moments from now, that dumbstruck young mouth of yours will be silenced forever. The prosecution calls its next witnesses. Very well. Officer, bring forth the witnesses at once. Witnesses, kindly state your names and occupations for the court. Yes, sir. The great Nippon Imperial Army Sergeant Iise Nosa, reporting for duty, sir. Myself, I find employ as a purveyor of fine articles of antiquity from efflorescence of our nation, Nippon, and conduct my trade from Rasute, a humble premise on the 2nd District. Curio Koda, at your service. An antique dealer and a soldier. What an unusual pairing. Both of these gentlemen were present at the restaurant on the day in question. They must have been in the diners at the other tables the waiter mentioned. Myself, I habitually take tea from the most exquisite aroma at the establishment in question, always post-noon, and not infrequently converse with interested parties regarding the curios at which I make my business. I can't understand a word that old man is saying. He's an antique dealer. It sounds like he's a regular at La Carnival. He seeks out potential customers who may have had interest in antiques and tries to sell his wares to them. He obviously targets La Carnival because of its high-class restaurant with rich clientele. Right, I see. Although, to be honest, that sergeant looks more like he'd be a seller rather than a buyer. Now, you both witnessed the precise moment of this atrocious incident. Is that correct? Affirmative. The enemy unit was seen attacking the foreigner in what can only be described as an act of war, sir. It was that black uniformed rogue infantryman over there who was unloaded his firearm, sir. This man's as impossible to understand as the other. But I'm almost sure I heard a strange noise during that last thing he said. So this is decisive evidence the prosecution was threatening. The soldiers claiming that he actually saw the precise moment you shot the victim dead. Yes. Well, are you starting to feel uncomfortable? If I'm honest, I was feeling uncomfortable from the start. Now, the court will hear for your formal testimony, please. You will state everything you saw at the precise moment the incident occurred. Yes, sir. Standing by, ready to report, sir. Unsavory memories of the most esoteric afternoon. Witness testimony. What the witnesses saw. I was ingesting a regular beefsteak at the restaurant while having a tactical discussion with the old man. Myself, I was extolling the virtues of a particularly fine golden curio to the military gentleman. At that precise moment, a firearm was discharged. I observed the enemy's actions with my own eyes. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel. I was on my hands and knees investigating the whereabouts of my mysteriously absconded curious curio. Well, so you, Sergeant Noza, actually witnessed the vital moment. You saw the split second when the defendant fired the weapon at the victim? Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. That wicked university cadet, sir. The cruel and unforgivable enemy. What times we live in, when an English gentleman may be assailed in the broad light of day. But this is ridiculous. I didn't shoot anyone. Is that really true, Ryunosuke? Yes, all I did was pick up the gun that I saw lying on the floor. After I'd said hello to Dr. Wilson, I just said Watson because he's called Watson in the Japanese version. But when I said hello to Dr. Wilson, I went back to my table and sat drinking some coffee. Then when I'd finished, I got up from my seat to leave the restaurant when I noticed an English-made gun next to the chair where the professor was sitting. I thought perhaps the professor had dropped it, but I bent down, and just as I was picking it up, well, if that's the truth, there was obviously a criminal on the scene somewhere. And somewhere in these two witnesses' testimonies, there's a clue as to who that criminal was. There is? Ryunosuke, you must exercise your right to cross-examine the witness. Cross-examine? Do it now. As we have heard, Your Excellency, there is no room for doubt in the testimony of these witnesses. Defendant is clearly guilty. It is time to bring this despicable student to justice. Certainly, the testimony the court has just heard eliminates any vestige of doubt. Therefore, it is my grave duty to declare the verdict of this What in the name of Emperor is the meaning of this outburst? The defense demands its right to reserve its right. I'm already screwed it up. Just demands its right to a cross-examination. Dear me. Let me guess. The Hachimaki had bad boy next door told me to do it. How pathetic. Huh? How did he know? The prosecution objects. It's a clear waste of time. The defendant obviously has no experience. How could he possibly carry out a cross-examination? The defense is asserting its right to a cross-examination. Whether or not you think he's capable of it, it is irrelevant. Kazuma is so commanding. Very well. Let the defense conduct a cross-examination of the witnesses. Alright, this is where the real battle begins, Ryunosuke. But I don't even know what I have to do in a cross-examination. Isn't it obvious? You have to expose the lies in the witness's statement. How? You didn't fire the gun, which means that soldier said what that soldier said has to be a lie. Well, yes, but it's just a case of proving it, and the key to doing it, that is evidence. Right, evidence. All you need to do is present some decisive and indisputable evidence that proves the witness is lying. Now let's go, Ryunosuke. Don't let them beat you. Alright then. It's all or nothing. What the witnesses saw? Now I immediately know where the issue is. Alright. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired at the English civilian from the back, the cowardly little weasel. Post-mortem report. Death occurred a little after 2 p.m. and was caused by a loss of blood from a gunshot to the chest. What are you playing at, cadet? What is the meaning of this subordination? Thrusting this wad of papers in my mustache? Inconsistency, sir. I mean, yes. There's a clear inconsistency here. What nonsense. What can this document possibly tell us that we don't already know? Well, obviously, that, I know what I want to say, but the words just won't come out of my mouth. I think this proves beyond any doubt, Your Excellency, that there is no place for an amateur student here in this grand courtroom. Ugh, it's so frustrating. Oh, please. Surely this doesn't require an explanation. It couldn't be more plain. To spell it out would be an insult to the court. Kazuma? What are you talking about? It's apparent from a single glance at the post-mortem report presented by the defense that there's a clear discrepancy here with the sergeant's statement. What? Sergeant Iisa... I need to know how to pronounce this. Iisa. Okay. Iisa Nosa. Yes, sir. What? Yes, what, sir? Alright. The statement you just made was this. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel. Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. I witnessed the crime with my own military-grade eyes, sir. But no, that just can't be. And why not, cadet? Because... As clearly stated in the post-mortem report, fatal hemorrhage from pectoral ballistic trauma, no exit wound, bullet did not pass through the body. The photographic print of the victim clearly shows the same thing. The victim, Dr. Wilson, died from a bullet wound to the chest. Ah. Sergeant, according to your witness statement, the culprit shot the victim from behind. And that is the obvious discrepancy here. Well, how do you explain it? Oh, what was that? Something just popped out from behind his back while he pushed it down again. Certainly, there's a clear discrepancy with the facts here. Would you not agree, Sergeant Nosa? Yes, sir. At this juncture, that would appear to be indisputable. Until the moment I heard the firearm discharge, my eyes were firmly fixed on the delicious La Carnival steak, sir. What? The last testimony the court heard has proven one thing beyond all reasonable doubt. This witness, Sergeant Iyasanosa, did not see the defendant firing the gun at all. That's absurd. I think the conclusion we must draw is simple. There is no place for an amateur prosecutor here in this grand courtroom. And it's been a complete turnabout in the mood of this trial, just from that one discrepancy. So this is what being an ace attorney is all about. But I definitely saw him. That university cadet there, he was pointing the firearm directly at the victim's back. But I never fired the gun. All I did was pick it up off the floor. And you, old man, you didn't see the moment the victim was shot either. Myself, I have already been quite clear. The gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor. Too busy on the floor? Sorry, but what were you doing? Hunting for treasure. Treasure? Indeed, the Hoei-era Koban, my prized coin. On each occasion when I visit that restaurant, it is my habitude to place in my bosom pocket a peculiar trinket of interest from my shop, Razute, in the hope of meeting a rich diner who might likely buy it from you. On the day under scrutiny, it was to the military man that I pre-offed my Hoei treasure. I believe he would purchase such a rare find. I did not. But I was presented with a little alternative. And then, after averting my eyes for the briefest of moments, it was there no more. It simply vanished. The Koban vanished. Hunting around under the table, I was, in case mayhap, it had fallen there and then it happened. You heard the gunshot, you mean? Indeed I did, but heeded it not, for I was concerned only with finding my absconded Hoei treasure. Nothing could distract me. Out of interest, did you find the coin in the end? No. I see. That lamentable day, the precious Hoei Koban was lost to me. No doubt some unscrupulous scoundrel pocketed the prize coin for himself. As I'm sure everyone present is aware, this case demands a swift and decisive resolution. Our government has promised to send a full report to Great Britain by telegraph this very afternoon. Nevertheless, the witness testimony the court has just heard is inconclusive, no matter how subservient our government feels it must be to the British. It would be unforgivable to deliver a verdict on this trial right now. What is your position, Prosecutor Aochi? Worry not, Your Excellency. The defendant may have fled a tiger at the front gate, but he will find a wolf at the back. My witnesses have further testimony to make. Explain. Upon hearing their next statements, it will become abundantly clear that there is only one person who could have possibly committed this despicable crime. The equally despicable defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. What? He really seems to have a despicable opinion of you, doesn't he? Ugh. Very well. The court invites the witnesses to testify again. You will thoroughly explain the reasoning behind the prosecution's allegations. Is that clear? As clear as Kiriko glass, Your Excellency. Yes, sir. At once, sir. Awaiting signal to testify, sir. Excuse me, but there's something or someone peeking out over your shoulder, I think. Affirmative. The newest member of the Nosa family to rise up through the ranks, sir. Name, Ido. It would seem those straps are a sign of the sergeant being too strapped to affirm his form a nanny. Ido, Tenshun! Your father is about to quell the enemy. Watch and learn, my boy. about his kid with him in the courtroom. The true culprit. Even if what I saw wasn't the precise moment the firearm was discharged, it's almost the same thing. Yes, pointing his gun at the foreign man he was, that young lad in black. This much I did see. Furthermore, a visual search of the premise at the time confirmed that there were only personnel present. Indeed, alone he was, the Englishman, dining all by himself. Therefore, no one other than the black uniformed cadet could have dispatched the Englishman. Over and out. These testimonies are certainly compelling. Wait, that's nonsense. The victim, Dr. Wilson, wasn't alone at all. Please, enough of these outbursts already. But there was a woman. There was a young woman at his table. You must have seen her. Everyone there must have seen her. If you call yourself a lawyer, then you will respect the rules of the court and speak accordingly. We are not here to listen to your fantasies. Ugh. It is evident beyond all reasonable doubt that the victim was alone at the time of the incident. The prosecution has photographic evidence of this fact. Is this photographic print of the scene of the crime, counsel? Indeed, of the table at which the victim was dining, taken by an investigator immediately after the incident. As can plainly be seen, there was only one place set. Certainly, based on the appearance of this print, it would appear reasonable to conclude the victim was not in the company of anyone else. This doesn't make any sense. The court will add this new photographic evidence to the record. A bottle of carbonated water and a steak lunch can be seen on the victim's table. I don't understand. What's going on here? It's just not possible that nobody else saw that woman. Yo no hablo español. I'm sorry. The waiter before said the same thing. He maintains that Dr. Wilson came to the restaurant alone as well. But that's not true. I saw her. I swear that I saw a woman with him. It would seem that we'll be able to telegraph the report to the Great Britain on time after all. The witness testimonies we have just heard leave no further room for doubt. These are very sensitive political times, as we all know. The ink is still fresh on the treaty with Great Britain. To think that Taketsuchi Aochi will have contributed to the amity of the two great empires is an honor. How can this be happening? The judge is ready to rule. Stand tall, Ryunosuke. It's not over yet. What? If what you say is true, then there's something going on here behind the scenes. And now is your chance to expose it, to draw out the truth in your cross-examination. I don't know, Kazuma. The defense is entitled to cross-examine the witnesses, but make it quick, understood? Rules can be so unbending at times. Ugh. Hello, Gino. The true culprit. Alright, it's almost the same thing. I want to go ahead and look at this. Yeah, there's only one plate. And there's one glass. So there couldn't have been someone else sitting there based on what we're looking at. It's not really an inconsistency. Alright. That much. Furthermore, a visual search of the premise at the time confirmed that we were the only personnel present. What do you mean by that? You must have noticed someone else at Dr. Wilson's table. There was a lady there. As you have been at pains to point out it time again, I feel I'm growing callous in my ear. And yet no one else appears to have caught even a glimpse of this woman. Ugh. If only there'd been more people dining there at the time, then someone else would have noticed her. Unfortunately, it was already past 2 p.m. when it happened. The quiet time between lunch and dinner in any restaurant. I know, of course the place was almost empty. It's what you'd expect. Certainly, 2 p.m. is neither here nor there in terms of time to eat. I wonder if there was a reason why the victim was eating at the time of day, and why he was alone. Yes, Your Excellency, there was indeed a reason. There was. This was found in the victim's jacket pocket. What is that, Counsel? It's a medical report card, Your Excellency. It would seem that the victim had an appointment at the clinic prior to visiting the restaurant. Hada Clinic. Yes, that would indeed appear to be the entry for this date, for the date in question. 19th November, noon to past 1 p.m. The very day of the incident. So the victim went for a late lunch following his appointment. The explanation couldn't be more simple. The prosecution felt no need to submit this evidence before, as it really has no bearing on this case. I wonder... What do you think, Ryunosuke? Well, it's hard to see how it could be related, really. Remember, you can request it to be entered in the court record as evidence if you think it could be useful. Should I ask for Dr. Welcome's medical report? Yeah. If I may, I'd like to ask for the medical report card to be submitted as evidence, Your Excellency. On what grounds? This court has already heard conclusive witness testimony. Additional evidence would be extraneous. Not to mention that the victim's movements prior to his arrival at the restaurant are of no concern. Whether or not they are of concern is up to us to decide. We have the right to explore all possible avenues. I beg your pardon. You have no authority to refuse a perfectly valid request from the submission of evidence. Very well. The court will grant the defense's request. Youngsters these days are forever asserting their rights. It's the most disturbing trend. Officer, kindly add the victim's medical report card to the court record. Alright. What we need right now is new clues. We have to explore things from every possible angle, even if they don't seem relevant at first. Right, I hear you. You could conspire to prolong this trial as much as you like, but the day after the festival is all ready for you. Or perhaps you've forgotten that these witnesses' testimonies leave no room for doubt. Feel free to reiterate for the accused, Korakuda-san. Indeed, alone he was, the Englishman, dining all by himself. Let me see something. No one other than the black uniform cadet could dispatch the Englishman over and out. Dining all by himself. Now, I'm actually going to... Let's examine this. Excellent work, Ryunosuke. We've gleaned some new information now. Well, yes, but I don't feel like it changes much. I can't see it brings any real discrepancies to light. I wouldn't be so sure. Let me see that medical report card you've got before. Oh, you mean this? Yes, this is a brand new piece of evidence. So perhaps we should examine it a little more in detail. How exactly? You'll notice some pieces of evidence bear a magnifying glass. These are the ones that you may examine. Press A and you can take a closer look at the piece in question. Use the right stick to turn it. To rotate the evidence in all directions and examine it from all angles. By using the left stick, you can move the crosshairs around to hunt for clues that may have been missed before. If the crosshairs start to pulsate, press A to investigate further. So, partner, I think you should take a closer look at this medical report card. See if there isn't anything new to be learned by examining it in more detail. Alright, I'll see what I can do. I need to use the right stick, the left stick, and A to inspect any areas of evidence that look suspicious. Okay. Medical report card required for every visit. Okay. It says Hada Clinic on this medical report card. I hate clinics almost as much as I hate hospitals and surgeries. Aren't they all the same? When I was 5, I caught the only cold I've ever had in my life, and I remember, even though I felt awful already, I had to have this hideous injection in my right arm. I'll never forget it. Never in my whole life. Most people would give their right arm to have only one cold in their whole life. Anyway, I don't think this is a clinic where they treat people for illnesses like that. Let's keep looking for clues. We don't want to miss anything. Okay, let's see. Oh, here we go. We can open it. Okay, what does it say? Let's have a look. This is some kind of medical history. There's an entry for the day the professor was killed. Extraction of molar with topical anesthesia. Extraction of molar? You mean he had a tooth taken out? It would seem so. Just before the incident, he had a bad tooth removed. Perhaps they use laughing gas. That's the most modern practice for the West for pain relief. Yes, I've heard of this anesthesia. Although it's hard to believe there's anything that could actually stop you feeling pain. There's a cautionary note from the medical practitioner as well. Strictly no food or drink besides water for 3 hours post-procedure until anesthetic effects have passed. Really? Sounds like information worth bearing in mind. Alright. A record of dental work. On the day of the murder, the victim had undergone dental treatment and had been prohibited from eating or drinking anything but water. With this new information, the meaning of one particular statement totally changes. So I think it's time we listen to the testimonies again, don't you? Definitely. Even if what I saw wasn't the precise moment the firearm was discharged, it's nearly the same thing. Boy, that much stuff I did see. I confirmed that we were the only personnel present. Indeed, alone he was, the Englishman, dining all by himself. On the day of the murder, the victim had undergone dental treatment and had been prohibited from eating or drinking anything but water. Well, I think, about what are you wittering, lad? Call yourself a lawyer? I wish I could, but first and foremost here, I am the accused. Ryunosuke, everyone stumbles on their words occasionally. Under the circumstances, I wouldn't worry about it. Thanks, Kazuma. I can see it quite clearly in that cross-examination you just carried out. When you raised your hand straight up like that, so purposefully, you knew exactly what it is you wanted to say. Don't feel like you have to choose your words carefully. Just say what you're thinking. All right. Thanks for the advice. Korakuda-san, this is a medical report card belonging to the victim. I see. And? I don't see. What of it, boy? Comparing with what's written on this report card with your witness statement, something clearly doesn't add up. Dear me, have you forgotten my words so soon, you amateur? Sorry, what? You are not to interrupt the court proceedings with your amateurish dribble. But let's see if I can explain in words you might understand. If it was after 2 p.m. in the afternoon when the victim was murdered at the restaurant, whatever he may or may not have done before that is completely irrelevant. But that's, Remember, Ryunosuke, you don't have to use clever language or fancy words. Just make your point. Your Excellency, I believe we're finished here. There's surely no need to prolong this trial further. The witness testimonies the court have heard have been clear and concise. This medical report card has no bearing on the matter at all, for the simple reason that there is no one else besides this pale-faced pupil who could have possibly perpetrated the crime. Oh, I'm slamming the desk now. This medical report card has nothing to do with the case. Do you really believe that? What? That outburst half petrified me, boy. Of course I believe it. How could it possibly be relevant? Perhaps because Hada Clinic, which issued the report card, is a dental clinic. A dental clinic? Is that supposed to mean something for me? Perhaps if I told you that the victim had just had a tooth extracted? What's this now? And furthermore, if I told you that, as a result, the victim had been forbidden from eating... Just what are you trying to say, Cadet? He had orders not to eat, so what? It's all written up in here. No food or drink other than water for 3 hours post-procedure while anesthesia wears off. What? No, that can't be. Korakuda-san. What, boy? What? As you just heard, when he was killed sometime shortly after 2 p.m., the victim couldn't have been eating anything at all. No. Additionally, there's more. You have assured to the court with unwavering self-confidence that the victim was dining alone. But that cannot possibly be the case. Because the victim, as we now know, had just had one of his teeth extracted and was still experiencing the effects of anesthesia. Expertly done, partner. Are we getting raided? Maybe. What is this nonsense, you little upstart? These are baseless accusations. Just look at the photographic evidence. You can clearly see the plate of food at the victim's table. Use your head. That's the very discrepancy we're talking about. Or can't you follow the logic? How dare you? I think it's fair to say that the tables in this restaurant case have turned. Wouldn't you agree, Ryunosuke? Yes, most definitely. So having just undergone some dental surgery, the victim was unable to eat, which leaves one very crucial conundrum. Who, in fact, was eating this pictured beefsteak? The court will hear the opinion of the defense on this new puzzle. I assume you're ready, counsel. Counsel? Oh, that means me, doesn't it? Alright, the answer to this question is going to be pivotal. This is the start of your turning this trial around. Show them what you're made of. Got it. So, the person eating the steak at the victim's table must have been, as of yet unknown, third party. Obviously, it can only have been someone else who was sitting at the professor's table. You will not let this go, will you? There was no such person. There was, because I saw her. When the incident occurred, we know that the victim couldn't have been eating anything, yet we have evidence of a half-eaten steak on his table. Therefore, the only logical conclusion is that there was somebody else there eating it. We have strong evidence to support our assertion. It's clear that these witness testimonies are unreliable. Ugh, I need to take a break from talking for a second. Damn. Ugh, Jesus. I mean, a raid would be cool. Also, my throat feels... I need to clear my throat a bit. Hold on. Alright. Alright, let's get back to it. Alright. If the court decides to push through a ruling at this stage, we will lodge a formal complaint with the Ministry of Justice and pursue a fair retrial relentlessly. Cosmo, are you insane? You would take on the government? Don't worry, Counsel. I have no issue with you. What do you mean? I have issue with them. Those two witnesses on the stand. What? What are you talking about? We have demonstrated with evidence that the victim was not alone, so if that now turns out to be that two of you deliberately lied when giving your testimonies, obviously you will be charged with perjury. Perjury. And since this is a murder trial, you will also be deemed complacent in the killing. Complacent? In murder? No! Got him. Negative. There was no mention of this at the tactical meeting. I was just following orders. That's right, as the man says. You just say we never saw the gentlewoman. That's where they told us. Oh. What? What did you just say, Kurakuda-san? Oh, no. You were just following orders? Now, hold on, lad. I was, say you never saw the gentlewoman. When you say gentlewoman, do you mean you saw the victim with a lady from overseas? What? What is the meaning of all this? These witnesses gave false statements? Is this true, you pair? Just one. Just one simple slip of the tongue. Order! Counsel, explain what is going on here. It's painfully clear now. You tried to prevent these witnesses from telling the truth. Absolutely not. The prosecution knows nothing of this. Then who's behind this? Who tried to make you keep your mouth shut? Well, that's classified. So you're prepared to be tried as conspirators to this murder, are you? You wouldn't. This can't be happening. Ryunosuke, judging from the way they're reacting to this, I'd say they were sworn to silence by someone with considerable influence. However, I don't believe Aochi had any idea about it. What are you saying? I mean, to wield that kind of influence, there can only be a handful of possibilities. It can only have been the government, the military, or the police, I suppose. Well, any ideas about who might be behind this? If we can affirm who tried to silence these witnesses, then we can continue our pursuit. So we need to name whoever was that tried to make the witnesses keep their mouths shut. Of course, we'll need evidence before we make any firm accusations. Evidence that proves whoever it was really did wield his or her power here. But how? How can we possibly... Remember how we made progress before? We examined this piece of evidence in more detail and found new clues as a result. Oh yes, that's right. Well, that's not the only piece of evidence we have, is it? Oh hey, we can turn this around now. You know, what was his name? Yeah, Hosonaga. He said that he drew this picture on the back of his business card. Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. Well, that's unexpected. What is? Look, do you see it says the witness's name here? Satoru Hosonaga. Well, yes, business cards do tend to show the person's name. That's sort of the point. It's not the name that's unexpected, it's his job title. His job? Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. Inspector? What on earth? I have no idea, but let's face it, the police have a lot of power and influence, and if they're wielding it somehow here... A sketch of the restaurant layout is on the back. On the front, it's stated that Hosonaga-san is a police inspector. We need to re-examine everything and make sure that there's nothing we've missed. There's no time to lose. I want answers. If it's proven that these witnesses have been manipulated, I assure you the penalty will be severe. Please, wait. Your Excellency, I had no idea about any of this. I swear on every Shinto god. I knew nothing. And what does the defense have to say about all this, well, Your Excellency... no time to think. I'm just gonna have to close my eyes and shout out the first name that comes to my head. Besides the prosecution, the only person with necessary influence to manipulate these witnesses is... Satoru Hosonaga. Well, surely that would be Satoru Hosonaga-san. Hosonaga-san? The waiter who took the stand earlier? Poppycock! What possible reason would the waiter have to make these witnesses give false testimony? Not to mention the fact that even a head waiter could not possibly have that level of influence. For once, I would agree with you. If that is, the man truly were a waiter. What? If he truly were? Come on, Ryunosuke, time to hit this court with the truth. The truth about Satoru Hosonaga-san's real identity as proven by this evidence. The plan of the restaurant sketched by the men in question. I agree it shows a great deal of attention to detail, but I'm not sure we can include anything. Sorry, Your Excellency. That's the back of the card. It's the back of the card that's of interest. I beg your pardon. Or perhaps I should have said, the front. Yes, it's the front of the back of the card. That's where the telling detail is. Will somebody please explain what this overexcited student is trying to say? Hosonaga-san sketched the plan of the restaurant on the reverse side of his business card. The front of that business card reveals the man in question's profession, his true profession. The waiter's profession? But that's surely... Good gracious! That's right, Your Excellency. The card reads, Chief Inspector, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. What? The waiter is a police detective? I haven't heard any mention of this before. Why haven't I heard any mention of this before? The Imperial Police Bureau has immense power, absolute power, as far as regular civilians are concerned. So, witnesses, they're in the stand. Was it in fact the waiter who gave you your orders? Was it he who told you not to mention that you'd seen this foreign gentlewoman at the scene? Well... Whoa, random hold it. Inspector Hosonaga! I was worried something like this may happen. The moment you asked me to submit my sketch as evidence, I realized it was a possibility. The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence. Oh, well... Is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once. Of course. Here you are. Yes, I remember now. He did act strangely when the judge asked him to hand over his business card. I strive to carry out all investigations flawlessly. It's my guiding principle. But I let myself be distracted when I made that sketch. It was a very unusually careless mistake. So, you mean to say you really are a detective? But why would a detective be working as a restaurant waiter? Ah, of course. Your salary must be terrible. I was working undercover. Undercover? Yes, there has been a series of incidents at the restaurant recently. In order to investigate, I decided to get a job there as a waiter, working undercover. Incidents at the restaurant? What kind of incidents? That would be classified police information, which I am not at liberty to divulge. However, I can state categorically that they are unrelated to this case of homicide. Very well then, Inspector Hosonaga, but you will elaborate on one point for the court. Of course, Your Excellency. We have just heard new information from the two witnesses beside you, that at the time of the shooting, there was in fact another person present at the victim's table. If that is indeed true, clearly you would not have been aware of this person's presence, having served at the table in question. However, your testimony did not allude to this other diner, therefore I am led to assume that in your professional capacity as a police officer, you require these witnesses to be in an agreement. Would that be correct? Correct, Your Excellency. Unbelievable! As I suspected. As soon as I heard the gunshot, I ran out of the kitchen to see what had happened. The victim sat slumped in his chair, and beside him, gun in hand, stood the accused student. Sitting opposite the victim at the same table was a young lady, whom I guessed would be an Englishwoman. So the truth comes out. I immediately sealed off the restaurant and reported the incident to the Bureau. It was then that I received some special orders. Special orders? You mean to say, remove the Englishwoman from the scene at once? It was made clear that the Englishwoman's presence at the restaurant was to be concealed. Those were my orders. But what if this Englishwoman was the killer? I think it would have been in everyone's best interest not to pursue that idea. The Empire views the friendly terms of its relationships with Britain more highly than anything at the moment. An Englishman has been murdered on our soil. To name an Englishwoman as the primary suspect, well, without irrefutable evidence, that would be completely out of the question. So that's the reason for the disappearance of the Phantom Woman in this case. But it's not right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of us are, Zanky. Also, hi. One possibility does spring to mind. What do you mean, Kazuma? Yume University is currently hosting a number of exchange students from Great Britain, and I'm fairly certain that one of them studying in the medical faculty's research laboratory is a young Englishwoman. What? You're a shrewd man. I can see why you're a chosen candidate for the overseas study tour. You mean, when I removed this woman from the scene of the crime, I thought it prudent to check her identity first. Then the court demands that you name the lady in question at once, Inspector. The Englishwoman sitting at the university professor's table was certain Miss Giselle Brett. She is indeed a foreign student studying in the research laboratory of Yume University's medical faculty. What is happening here? I admit that under orders from the police bureau, I erased all evidence of this lady's presence at the scene, and ordered these witnesses to make no mention of her in their testimonies. It must now be up to Your Excellency to decide how to deal with this situation. Very well. My thoughts on the matter are as follows. Thus far, the case presented to the court has been underpinned by a particularly critical premise. namely that the victim was dining alone. However, as we have now discovered that this premise is false, it would be a desecration of our justice system to ignore the truth and give a ruling at this point. But Your Excellency, that would mean missing the noon deadline for ruling the order to send the telegraphic report to Great Britain. Our own government would surely be very displeased by such actions. Calm yourself, Counsel. I will not allow the government of our country or any other to influence the proceedings of my courtroom. Inspector Hosonaga? Yes, sir. You will locate this Giselle Brett and escort her to the courtroom with the utmost urgency. At once, Your Excellency. But that means you'll be going against the special orders you were given from the police bureau. As I said before, it is my guiding principle to carry out all investigations flawlessly. So, it won't be a problem. Nothing will get in my way. You need to get that checked out. Court will adjourn briefly. The prosecution must call the English student Giselle Brett to the witness stand. Do I make myself clear? Yes. Your Excellency. Good. Then we'll have a 30-minute recess before reconvening. To be continued. Because save our progress. I'll keep going till the typical 2-hour mark, so we still got some time. November 22nd, 11:38 a.m. Supreme Court Adjudicator, Defendant's Antechamber 5. Excellent work, Ryunosuke. That was superb. My heart was in my mouth the entire time. It was almost unbelievable. I mean, looking at you in there, you were drenched in sweat, your eyes popping, your knees knocking, and you were grinding your teeth. It was a grim sight, but before I knew it, you started finding inconsistencies in the testimonies. I think you might have a natural talent for being a lawyer. Forget it, it's terrifying. If I get through this, I don't ever want to see the inside of a courtroom again. Anyway, it looks like we've exposed your phantom lady at last. Miss Giselle Brett. A student from Great Britain, is she? That's what I was trying to tell everyone from the start. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone. There was a young woman with him, like I've been saying all along.